we're also hearing that he is excluding Meghan intentionally because he realizes that there is no royal reconciliation with Meghan in tow. So friends have suggested, and apparently he's taking their advice, that...
All right, let's break this down, because there's a lot to unpack here. The gist of it? Prince Harry's friends reportedly think the only way he's ever going to make peace with his royal relatives is if he leaves Meghan Markle out of it entirely. And apparently, Harry might finally be starting to agree. Now, this isn't just a tabloid rumor of the weak kind of story. It actually ties back to a long history of tension, the kind that dates all the way back to the couple's royal exit and the now infamous Sandringham Summit, where everything between Harry, Meghan, and the royal family basically fell apart.
In reuniting with the British royal family, he tried to do this solo. I mean, it sounds to me like the family is so turned off by Meghan Markle and their behavior as a team that they might only be willing to speak to him. This reminds me of the Sandringham Summit, where after Harry and Meghan, without consulting the British royal family, announced that they were stepping down as working members, they launched a website, which they had been building quietly without the royal family's knowledge in Canada over the Christmas holiday. On that website, they laid out their expectations for what was to come. As they stepped back, they wanted a half in, half out. They were going to work with grassroots, small up-and-coming media. Then Meghan goes and talks to like Variety magazine. But they had set the ground rules, and without consulting the British royal family, they launched this website, which really upset Queen Elizabeth and Prince Charles at the time. Having been so caught off guard by this and realizing that Harry's not that ambitious, this all had to be Meghan's doing, Meghan's calculations. She already had a website, allegedly a very popular website called The Tig. So Meghan would be behind the build of a new website, the Sussex Royal brand. The royal family wanted to exclude Meghan from the Sandringham Summit. Also, you have to keep in mind, she was a relatively new member of the British royal family. They all had relationships with each other. It's DNA, it's blood, it's protocol that Meghan clearly didn't understand or care to invest in. She told Oprah Winfrey herself that she didn't Google the royal family. So I think not only did they not trust Meghan, they specifically did not want her on a Zoom call or on a conference call because they were fearful that she would record that behind their backs without their knowledge. So they said, no, Prince Harry has to physically be here. Not only did they not, want her there digitally, they didn't want her there physically. And I think ultimately that's because they just don't trust her. So having that history where we see the royal family specifically excluding Meghan from the Sandringham Summit because there's a lack of trust, because they realize that she's just not going to understand the protocol or the process, I'm not surprised that Prince Harry would look at the current situation and say, you know what, it's probably going to be best if we exclude her from whatever these new negotiations are, from whatever could potentially happen in the future. Let me rewind for a second, because I know that this will upset Meghan to be excluded from all of these talks, or to feel like she's being abandoned by Prince Harry as he pursues this solo rehabilitation. Because she specifically says in the Netflix series that she was angry that she was excluded from the Sandringham Summit. She was mad that people were making decisions about her life and her future without her.
According to royal insiders, Harry's friends have been quietly nudging him to take the solo route when it comes to repairing his fractured family ties. They apparently told him straight up, "Mate, there's no way they're ever going to let you back in with Meghan by your side." And now, it seems Harry might finally be listening. That's the million-dollar question. Can Harry realistically rebuild bridges with his family without Meghan being part of that process? In theory, yes. But in practice? Tricky.
I mean, I think that this scenario is a little different because this is about allegedly Prince Harry wanting to reconcile with his father because he's ill. So it's less about Meghan Markle's future and about Meghan Markle's life. But she was so resentful about being excluded from the Sandringham Summit that I don't think this will sit well with her. Friends say that Harry's only way back into the family, at least at the beginning, is without Meghan. And we're seeing that within these negotiations or these quiet discussions. But there are also reports that Prince Harry doesn't plan on bringing Meghan to the 2027 Invictus Games. That is going to be, until somebody makes a statement about that, that's going to be a huge debate. Will they, won't they? We saw it around the coronation. Will Meghan attend the coronation? Won't she? I was one of the ones that said I truly thought she would. I could not imagine her missing out on this amazing PR or branding opportunity to be decked out in full glam and jewels and look gorgeous standing there with one of the most powerful and relevant families in the entire world on such a significant day. She stayed home. It blows my mind that she stayed home. We saw Prince Harry show up. He was placed amazingly behind the Princess Royal's feather cap, so we could barely see him. He could barely see anything. He's like looking over, trying to see his dad and brother throughout the ceremony. I think that this idea of Harry trying to pursue things without Meghan is likely the best scenario. Is he trying to brand himself away from her to get away from the bitter prince narrative? Perhaps, but we've also seen Meghan brand herself away from him with her As Ever brand. And with Love Meghan, she says she's pursuing joy. She's throwing back shots of whatever and rosé, and he barely appears in her Netflix series. I've heard that he does not appear at all in season 2 of With Love Meghan. Maybe they are just trying to pursue their own paths professionally. But when it comes to Harry reuniting with the British royal family, there is so much bad blood with Meghan that I just don't know if I ever see her joining him in his pursuit to reconcile. I think that she wants to just stay in California and admire the palm trees holding hands and sell lots of loose fruit spread. There are quotes that were given to the Daily Mail about this, that Harry specifically did not want Meghan there in his last engagement in Angola. It said, the source says, Harry was particularly concerned about Meghan's safety, but also apparently sees Halo Trust as his thing, and he wants to keep it that way. They reported that Harry's old friends think he finally has come to the realization that if he ever wants to reconcile with his father and his brother and the rest of the estranged family, that he's going to have to do this on his own without Meghan being active in that push. She's so relentless. I can understand why. And to that end, it sounds like Harry is keen on stepping out solo with more charity projects, including his super popular Invictus Games. I think they call this the 7-year itch, guys.
Because of the royal family, reconciliation isn't just about Harry. It's about the damage both of them caused together. Still, insiders say there's hope. If Harry approaches it humbly, quietly, and privately, without Meghan's usual media flair, the palace might be open to small steps, an olive branch, a few joint causes, maybe even private visits. But the moment Meghan steps in, it risks collapsing all over again. At the end of the day, this whole story isn't just about royal drama. It's about identity. Harry's trying to figure out who he is without his royal role, and without being half of Harry and Meghan. His friends say the path home starts with distance, from the spotlight, from the drama, and yes, from Meghan. Will he actually take that step? We'll have to wait and see. But one thing for sure, the royal family isn't ready to welcome both Sussexes back. For now, they'll only open the door for one, and it's Harry who has to decide whether he's willing to walk through it alone.